David, I'm going to read you a chilling quote about an incident that took place this past week. Quote, "Let me fight the bitch," she insisted. "Let me fight her. On your mama, let me fight her. Let me fight the bitch. Why would you want to fight me? Are you a bitch? You're 120 pounds. Let's get at it then. Y'all think because a bitch famous. Fuck you mean, what happened? Where's she at?" This excerpt is from Billboard's article on Ice Spice getting slapped by a fan at McDonald's in Hollywood. And you may remember that last spring, Bad Baby's boyfriend was shot in a club in LA. And now we get this incident in Hollywood. David, I ask you, what is your plan to stop these senseless crimes against female rappers in your city?
Well, first of all, let me just say that I thought you're just reading an excerpt of our last conversation. What I will do as the next governor of California is I will ban all rappers from going to fast food places and make them only go to fine dining. That way they cannot get hurt. And yes, I'm throwing my hat in the ring and joining the other 95,000 people running for the Democratic seat in the governor's election here.
Very good. Yeah, we just lost Eric Swalwell because it turns out he's a piece of shit. So now David is going to be replacing him, thankfully. So guys, don't worry.
I'm here to save you all.
Make sure you get out the vote on whatever day it is. I don't know.
June something.
June something. You heard it here first. Vote in the governor's election on June something, 2026. And with that... Pop Culture Podcast. I'm your co-host, Brandon, and with me, as always, is your other co-host,
David. My name is finally normal, I just realized.
That's true. You did change your name to just David now. I like it. And I'm still Uncultured Pop Culture. I'm sorry. I'm the face.
Never changed.
You know, David was just making some TikToks, some Instagram Reels, some YouTube Shorts.
Hint, hint. Breaking the fourth wall here, just like our movie this week.
Exactly. And he got to be Uncultured Pop Culture for those sweet moments.
That's right.
But I digress, because we have to break the fourth wall here and talk about this movie, audience. I'm talking directly to you now. I'm not even looking at David on screen anymore. I'm looking behind the camera. And audience, I'm talking to you because we're talking about Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's right.
And we are talking about an indie album.
Might I say a landmark indie album?
Oh, very good. Half-court
yeah.
shot he makes at everybody.
Boom.
And now I'm looking back at David, and I'm talking to David, and I'm asking David, what did you watch in this past week?
You might have remembered that in last week's episode I mentioned, or I might not have mentioned it in the episode, but I definitely mentioned to you that I was going to watch Project Hail Mary.
You did mention that in the episode and to me.
That's right.
So, very good.
There we go. Well, I did not.
Oh, come on.
Because let me tell you why before you judge.
If you tell me you watch Lee Cronin's The Mummy instead, I'm going to get very angry right now.
Okay, it was a good... No, kidding. I didn't watch it. I saw a preview of Michael. No, kidding.
Oh, God.
I'm not watching that. The reason I did not go to see Project Hail Mary is because I saw that another, maybe not indie, but another smaller movie came out called The Christophers, which is directed by Steven Soderbergh. Knowing the way that theaters are with the windows for movies nowadays, where smaller movies might be gone after literally 1 week, me and Jennifer were like, okay, we want to watch this. That means we got to watch it like as soon as it's in theaters so we don't miss it. So that's why we decided to see that over Project Hail Mary, because that's going to be in theaters for like another month at least.
Thank God.
Yes, and we're going to go see it this weekend anyways, most likely.
Okay, so, I'm holding you to this now, this week.
Okay,
I expect Project Hail Mary next week.
Okay, I will text you the moment I see it. Or you know what, I won't. I will let the suspense build.
Oh, okay.
But I am happy to report that The Christophers lived up to the hype. I liked it. It was really good. It was different than what I thought it was going to be. It's about like art forgery. I thought the art forgery itself was going to be like at the center, but it's more about the relationship between the two main characters. I really liked it. It's a 4 out of 5. It's in my top 10 list so far.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. And I think a big reason why this worked is because unlike a lot of other movies about art, this did not try to find some new meaning in art and like try and be super profound, but only come off as like cocky and, you know, self-possessed. Like it did not do that, and instead focused on the characters and their relationship with each other and how that affects their art. And because of that, it ended up being a really well done story about two people. I recommend. And with that, I gotta ask you, what have you listened to in the past week, and what have you watched? Because you hinted that you might have watched something.
I did. I'm going to start with the music. Joy Next Door by The Maine. This was the album I listened to. I rated it a 3.5. It's just a very solid indie rock album. I've been following The Maine for a few years, and little did I know they were like a semi-successful pop rock band from the late 2000s and early 2010s.
Oh.
I only know them as like an indie rock band, but they switched up their sound, and it's very nice, and I recommend this album if you just like kind of breezy, fun indie rock for the summertime.
That sounds like
I would
fun.
recommend checking out Joy Next Door. And then the other thing, the thing I watched, which I hinted at David, is I finished season 2 of The Pit because that recently came out.
Exciting.
And oh my God, David, it's incredible. You need to watch it if you haven't.
I am going to watch it.
Good. I think you'll like it a lot because in season 2, towards the end, like the last 2 episodes, there's an Armenian character. Shout out Armenia. Shout out Jennifer.
I God damn you. I can't even be too mad because I'm so happy that is in fact true.
I know. They introduced her and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I saw like a clip of it on YouTube. Or it might have honestly been on the Armenian subreddit. But in any case, I saw it and I was like, oh, hell yeah. Another reason to watch the show. And I honestly will probably start watching it soon because I got a Black Friday deal for Apple TV. So I've been watching stuff on there, but that's going to expire like middle of May. And I've honestly I don't want to start a long show on there. So I probably will start watching that pretty soon anyways. I've been looking for another show to get into.
I got to tell you, it is like that, you know, peak TV from like the mid 2010s to like COVID, essentially. Mm-hmm. That's what this show feels like.
Wow.
The only other one that I feel like that felt like that post COVID is Severance.
I can see that.
Like it's amazing. You just watch it and you're like, I need to watch the next episode right now.
I feel like there are a couple other shows that feel like that. But I think there's a big issue that's kind of getting in the way. Some other examples, I feel like, honestly, The Studio is like that for me.
Oh, yes. Once I get Apple TV, I will watch that. Yes, for sure.
You should really watch it. It's so well done. Mare of Easttown was like that, but that's a miniseries, so it's a little bit different, but I highly recommend. And then I feel like the first season of Beef was also like that for me. I know the second season just came out. I know the reception is a little bit more mixed, but I do want to watch it.
It took them 3 years too, which is insane. That's not peak TV behavior.
That's what I was going to bring up as the big problem. I think that's why, like, even if a show is really good, it doesn't feel exactly the same. It's because it takes so long for them to release the next season, you know? Like, even with Severance, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, that was like 2 years, I think. And that's even too long. Like,
and Beef was like 3.
What are we doing?
I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah. And it's an anthology series too. Like, it's not even the same cast. How does it take that long to do? I don't understand it. For 8 episodes, literally back in like the 50s, we used to make like 35 episodes a year.
Yeah.
And the show would just be on for like the majority of the year. And I was like, best I can do is 8 episodes every 3 years.
I don't know.
Like, what are we doing? No wonder Hollywood is like falling apart.
Just want to throw this out on the podcast so you guys can hold me to it in like 30 years. If I am ever lucky enough to where I get to create and showrun a show, I want it to have at least 12 episodes and I want it to release yearly. And I'm talking about a drama. If it was a comedy, I would say even more episodes. Just throwing that out there. You guys can hold me to that.
And I will. And I will make sure
yes.
that if this ever happens, that you will be doing yearly seasons, because that is potentially one of the issues I feel most passionately about in terms of TV.
Me too. I don't even mind that a lot of shows have like 6 episodes if they didn't take so long to make. Like, if they at least released yearly, it wouldn't be that big of an issue. Like, I would still be annoyed, but like, at least they're coming out every year. But the fact that it takes like 3 freaking years sometimes, like, what the hell are you guys doing? Anyways.
Exactly. It's like it's an album. It takes so long to make albums. Come on, what are we doing? But you know what? What a seamless transition, because we got an album to talk about today.
I was trying to sneak in the word hippocampus into there, but it didn't really work.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't fully know it. I think it's something to do with memories, I believe.
Like the memory part of the brain. That's
Yeah.
all I remember from psychology class, AP Psych.
Well, I hope you remember what album we're talking about today, because this is Landmark, the debut album by Hippocampus. Released February 24th, 2017 by Grand Jury Music and Transgressive Records. It was preceded by 3 singles, Boyish in October 2016, Monsoon in November of 2016, and Way It Goes in January of 2017. And David, I'm going to ask you right off the bat, have you ever heard of Hippocampus before?
Nope.
So Hippocampus consists of lead vocalist and guitarist Jake Luppin, guitarist and backing vocalist Nathan Stocker, drummer and backing vocalist Whistler Allen, and bassist and keyboardist Zach Sutton. And also around the time of this album's release, they officially added touring member DeCarlo Jackson to the lineup. He plays all of the brass instruments on this album and in live performances. The band met at school in St. Paul, Minnesota, and came up in the local music scene in the Twin Cities. Yes, we are doing Midwestern stuff this week. I'm very excited.
Hell yeah.
They independently released 2 EPs, Tarzan Rejects and Bashful Creatures, which led to them signing with independent label Grand Jury Music and releasing their 3rd and most successful EP, South, in October of 2015. And then they took a year off to record the album, and that was this album. And I'm going to read what Transgressive Records had written as a promo sticker on the back of the CD release in Europe. The record marks a true coming of age for the band, exploring an intimate world of universal concepts, love and loss, family and friendship, hope and self-doubt, amongst many others, a milestone at the time in life of which certain questions are answered, but so many more are asked. I don't know about you, but I feel like that's kind of a great connection to our movie.
I agree.
The album cover was designed by David C. Kramer, and each song is represented by an item on the cover.
Oh.
Yes, I will be bringing those up under each song. So that's something to look forward to.
That's a lot of fun.
This is an indie pop and an indie rock album, both of which are genres we have covered before, and pretty much every album we've done has had some version of the indie effect. So knowing this, what were your expectations going in? And did you think this would be closer to the Tennis album or pretty much everything else we've done in the genre indie?
I mean, I was fully expecting for the indie effect to be going strong. I didn't have an opinion on which it was going to go. I was kind of just like, oh, we'll see.
Indie.
Let's go with the flow. Yeah. So I knew that there were going to be a lot of 3.5s. Let's just say that. But I didn't know if there were going to be more 4s than 3s.
And that is the eternal question, I guess, for indie music. So this album did not receive a ton of critical reviews, but the few that I found were positive. It peaked at number 140 on the Billboard 200 and number 15 on the top rock albums chart. I found this album in April of 2018, but I didn't get into it really until after Bambi came out in September of 2018. I've always liked this album, but weirdly, it has gotten better as I've gotten older, despite it being about adolescence and high school. I ended up seeing them on the Bambi tour in 2019 in Madison, Wisconsin, and they were incredible. All songs were written by Jake Luppin, Nathan Stocker, Whistler Allen, and Zach Sutton. All brass was done by DeCarlo Jackson. It was produced and mixed by BJ Burton, who is a connection to Banks and Bon Iver from last season.
Oh.
And it is mastered by BJ Burton and Jeff Lipton. I said your favorite song will be Way It Goes, and your least favorite will be either Epitaph or Boyish. You will give this album a, drum roll, 3.5.
Oh my God, who would have thought?
So with that, let's get into track number 1, Sun Veins. This is the intro. It flows into Way It Goes. This song is represented by the paint bucket. And this is from Jake Luppin. Sun Veins represents an intense period of my life where I wanted to burn everything down, and it represents the moment of absolute clarity. I'm talking about a person, but at the same time, I'm talking about myself and us as a band. Throughout the past year, I thought that I had to be different and that the band had to be different, but it turned out that we had to look more inward and find ourselves again. And I wrote, what an intro. I've always loved it. As our first venture into the album, I feel like it foreshadows the introspective, slower back half of the album. I rated it a 4. And yes, I rated the intro and I rated the interlude on this album.
I was going to say, surprise, surprise.
Yes, but they are longer and they feel more like complete songs than some of the other ones we've done. So I decided to rate them. And then I also will bring up later why I rated the interlude when we get to it. But what did you think about this song?
It was very electronic in a way that I wasn't expecting, considering that this is indie. And I will say, I think the mix of like that indie sound with production that has a lot of electronic elements in it works really well for me.
Let's go.
But I really like the production in general. I will say there is also, I'm guessing, a lot of distortion. Is it distortion?
In general on the album?
Or like...
I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of effects and stuff.
Or like vocal...
I mean, yes, we have effects on vocals here. Yes. In this song and in another song that I may have chosen to be your least favorite.
Yes, that did work a little bit less for me at times throughout the album. And I think like some of that distortion is why this song is a 3. But I do like it as the opening song or the intro to the album. I think it sets the tone really well. And like I said, I do like the production. And I will say, not to spoil it, but this score is the lowest I ever go.
Oh.
In this album. Yeah.
All right.
That probably tells you about how I feel.
This is good. I was thinking there might be a 2.5 in here, but I'm glad there isn't.
Yeah. Nope.
Track number 2, Way It Goes. The third and final single, released January 16th, 2017. First lyric of this song is Wisconsin Pines. So that is a shout out to Wisconsin. Yeah. And then I also wrote down, which is by proxy, a shout out to Armenia, but I didn't realize that I was going to finish the pit in time and that there would be an Armenian character. So I don't even have to say that note.
I got to start writing that in myself, huh?
I know. That's so good. This is from Jake Luppen. Set in early spring on a frozen lake in Cumberland, Wisconsin, Way It Goes was a moment of clarity, a realization that we are comedy. We exist in a world where our main news source is a social media website. Materialism is our dogma. We seek to control the way our peers perceive us. We engage social issues as a backdrop for our personal drama. It's the rare moments when we can escape from this artificial reality that really matter. The Cabin is Jake's Aunt Bambi's cabin, and their second album is titled Bambi, so shout out to her.
Hell yeah.
She's very impactful, I guess. This song is represented by the boots and the record on the album cover. This is a song about being a millennial and an indie music enjoyer. I would put this up there with the best indie pop songs of the 2010s. It's the type of easygoing song that's quite simple and accessible, but if you listen to the lyrics more, you'll also enjoy it more. Mm-hmm. Also, I have to shout out to the production and composition on this album because it is up there all time for indie music. We know that I'm drawn to musically complex songs, and this album has no shortage of them. And also, this is just a perfect time to shout out BJ Burton. I think I have before. His name is Brandon, too. One of the best Brandons out there for sure.
One of the few good ones, including you.
Exactly. This song feels so Midwestern to me. Disregard the fact that the first word of the song is Wisconsin, because I think it's more in the sound. Everything about it just screams Northwoods. It also sounds like the month of May to me. Which brings me to the last thing, my tree counter. Jake mentions Wisconsin Pines, which means that is tree reference number 1. I rated this song a 4.5. Oh, also I picked this as your favorite song.
You did.
I should remind you.
It's not.
Okay, that's fair.
But I do like this quite a bit more than Sunbanes. First of all, let me say, I absolutely love the summery vibes of the song and in general of the whole album. It really made me think of summer. I didn't think of a specific month. I can see May. I do feel like for me, it's maybe like mid-summer. So maybe like sometime in July.
Isn't it insane this came out in February though?
Yes,
we can both
that's absolutely
agree
wild
that's like
to me.
Not the right time for this to come out.
It's the perfect like summer album.
I guess what they were thinking is like you can learn all the lyrics by summer.
I guess.
Maybe. I don't know.
Release it in May and that way by the end of summer you know the lyrics. Like I think that's the best way to do it. But yeah, this is just such a great summery sound. I feel like this is a totally new style of indie music that I at least haven't really heard, because I feel like a lot of indie music is really stripped back and kept very simple. But this, like, there's so much going on, and you know, you have, of course, like a lot of classic indie sounds, but you also have like all the electronic kind of sounds going on and adding a lot there. So it's such an interesting sound compared to the other indie that we've listened to. It's really fascinating and it's just so much fun. And I think a big part of how fun it is the fact that it does feel summery. Like it makes me think of the things I like to do, you know, like going to the beach. Yeah, this is a 3.5. I really enjoy this.
Damn, I was hoping for a 4 there. You're talking it up so much, but that's okay. It's the indie effect, you know.
It is the indie effect, I will say. but we will get there. Don't worry.
Track number 3, Vines. This is from Jake. We were told by our management and our labels to go back and work on a record. We thought we had a finished record at that point, but they said, nah, go back, write a few more songs. Out of that batch of songs was Vines and Buttercup. During that time, there was a bit of tension between us and the powers that be. And so Vines deals with the struggles of kind of being told what to do something when you don't necessarily want to. That doesn't make sense, but oh well, that's what the quote is. It says, but at the end of the day, it pays off. I think Vines and Buttercup are some of the best songs on the record. And Nathan said about this song that it is one of those nights when you come back home and everybody is like, let's get together and let's do things. And hopefully it actually happens, but usually it's rare if it actually occurs. Nighttime in the basement, screaming about our feelings. This lyric is about how they found their sound as a band in Zach's basement. They said that Minnesota is a great place to start a band because there are so many basements where you can hang out. And to that, I say shout out to the Midwest. Vines is represented by the grapes on the album cover. And technically, a vine grows on a tree, so I could count it, but I will show restraint and not count it towards the tree counter. This is one of those songs that is begging to be in the soundtrack of a coming-of-age film. David, you have to write this mythical movie. And this song sounds like a sunset on a lake in the Northwoods, probably late May or early June. I rated this one also a 4.5.
The song is a little bit lower for me than The Way It Goes. That's the fact. I would still like to write something for this, though. I think the main thing for me is that the vocal performance didn't really work for me here.
I was curious
about
that.
I still like the production. I don't know. I feel like it's something that could grow on me, but definitely like listening to it as of right now, it just didn't really work for me. I do feel like this song also specifically feels like late 2010s indie to me.
It is
summery instead of depressing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it is. Yeah. Like the main point is like it's not depressing, it's summery.
Yes.
Which is not like kind of against the grain, which is very interesting to me.
I mean, I don't know. We also haven't listened to that much like summery indie on here yet.
True.
You know, I like depressing music.
I guess I'm just used to like a lot of depressing music, which hey, I love that too.
That's what I've shown you.
Hey, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. But yeah, this is a 3 for me.
Okay, that's fair. I did want to say about your comments on his vocal performance.
Yeah.
This is an album that I think the vocal performance is very hit or miss on, and you either like it or you don't. It has grown on me a lot because I don't tend to like this kind of vocal performance because it's kind of a mess. It's kind of all over the place. You can't understand what he's saying sometimes. And that like isn't helped by the fact that a lot of their lyrics are like very weird and obscure.
Yeah.
It's grown on me a lot. And I feel like this is one of the better examples of this type of vocal performance, at least for me. But, you know, it's not for everybody. And I totally respect that.
And I will say that I feel like it's not like that's also consistent for the whole album. I feel like, at least for me,
yeah,
the performances on some of the songs work, and then on other songs, it doesn't work as well. So it kind of does depend.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting because I feel like, obviously, like a lot of other times when vocals haven't worked for me, that's kind of stayed consistent throughout the album, but it is different here.
I will say one other thing. I feel like there's a fair amount of experimentation on this album, and
there is.
Most of the songs don't sound the same, so I was hoping that we would avoid a little bit of indie effect here.
I mean, I feel like in some ways we might have avoided it. I think the fact that the whole album just felt very summery to me maybe made it feel more cohesive.
Yeah.
Because when I do catch onto a specific like vibe or something that sticks in my brain, it's kind of hard to get me off that. You know, you know
that's
me.
Fair.
You know that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Armenia 24/7.
Exactly. That's just, what I'm thinking about. I literally Google that in the morning, Google that at night. I'm looking at the country's Wikipedia page.
I just learned about the Armenia subreddit on this episode right now. So,
how have I not mentioned that before? I must have mentioned it.
I don't know.
There's an Armenian one.
That combines the two things I know about you.
One for the capital city, Yerevan. I'm sure there's one for the second biggest city.
Oh, shout out.
There's one for food. There's one for the language. There's a lot of them.
Damn, check that out, everybody.
Check it out, guys.
Maybe you'll see ads for this podcast on there.
Yeah, that's the subreddit where we paid for ads specifically.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just my face on it with the flag. Anyways,
track number 4, Epitaph. They said that Epitaph is about the frustration of not being able to write what you want. It's also inspired by the novel All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. They mention the name Mary in 2 songs on the album, and they have confirmed that she is a conceptual character and not a real person. Epitaph is represented by the record player on the album cover. I remember hearing this song for the first time and being blown away. I've tried to write my own version of it many times. This is a cold but humid night in June kind of song. I wrote down the lyric, I'm a cryptic writer, I'm an ignorant fool, I'm a poor excuse for poetry, trying to play it cool. Mm-hmm. Very nice. And then I also wrote down, I'm a ghost and you are a shadow. And Jake mentions a splinter, which, where does that come from? ... But I will count when he says, I know a place out beyond these pines, which is tree mention number 2. I said this would be your least favorite song because there is a lot of vocal manipulation going on here. It's kind of weird. We also get some like 808 hi-hats kind of vibe there, like analog hi-hats. However, I did rate the song a perfect 5.
Oh, wow.
This is my first perfect 5 of the album, and I can tell you, there are a few more coming up.
It's only fitting then that the vocal distortions did not work for me. I will say it's not like they're in the whole song. I feel like after a point, they like kind of drop out a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit in the verses.
Which helped. In general, though, I feel like this song kind of just feels too slow for me. Like, it doesn't pull me in, which is ironic because I like a lot of ballads and stuff like that, which are typically slower.
I kind of thought you'd say that about this song, though, honestly. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just had that feeling. I feel like you'll like a different ballad on here more.
Yes, we will get there. Let's just say that.
Monsoon.
Hint, hint. But yeah, it's still a 3. Like, it still does work. It kind of just feels hard for me to grasp. Maybe this is the type of song where I need to listen to it a couple times to better understand it. Like, I could also see that being the case.
Is this your least favorite?
Honestly, I did not pick a least favorite. I'm trying to think.
You can wait until the end if you want.
I'm gonna wait.
We'll come back to it.
I'm gonna wait. We'll come back to it. Yeah.
Track number 5, Simple Season. I have a very long quote here from Nathan. I'm going to do my best to do this in one take and not fuck it up. I got this letter on my birthday. The friend who gave it to me was someone I met in high school. I was in instrumental, just playing music all day, and she was in the theater track. I don't remember the first time we met, but she's an incredible writer, and what I do remember is that we were always exchanging things we wrote. When she gave me this letter, I took it back home and read it by myself in my room. I was floored. I read it maybe 5 times in a row. It was so beautifully written, and I felt such a gratitude because the letter showed that she really got me, and she made me feel like it was okay to be me. That was the real gift. The song was inspired by my relationship with the friend who gave me the letter, but I also want to leave enough room in our songs for listeners to fill them in with their own feelings, experiences, and memories. That way they can connect to the song, even if we don't know each other personally. A truly personal letter is really something different than a song. It's intended only for the person it's written to. A song is a way to share that emotional experience with others. I think that's a great quote. A lot of insightful things in there. The band said that Simple Season is about milking our youth for all it's worth. It's the photos on your bedroom wall from that disposable camera you picked up for the summer, that night when the moon was full, flying kites the day after, friends we made and the friends that made us, nothing to do and all day to do it, nowhere to go and all day to get there, sitting around in the simplicity of it all belonging to us. Very Ferris Bueller-esque in that quote as well. And yes, the whistling was done by Whistler. Shout out to him. Simple Season is represented by the left window that has the moon in it on the album cover. The happy chorus and whistling melody, contrasted with the sentimental lyrics about summers growing up in the Midwest, is just made for me. This song feels like how I want to feel after listening to music all the time. I said this about Baby Spiders on All Day's album, but this is just one of those incredible songs that I can see in my mind. I remember I was driving to school in the first week of September, and it just hit me that this was potentially one of the best songs ever made. I rated this a 5, and I said it was my favorite, and I stand by that. And I have to tell you, I listened to this album a week early because I was like, I know what Radiohead is. I've heard that. I want to move on to the next thing because I know I like it.
Yeah.
And in that extra week of listening, there's another song that might have overtaken Simple Season as my favorite.
Whoa.
Which is crazy.
That's wild.
Because I kind of don't really remember liking it that much. But as of right now, I will say Simple Season is my favorite, and it is a perfect 5. What did you think?
I mean, yeah, this this does work for me quite a lot more than the last song. It feels
Let's go.
much more cohesive. And I particularly like the production in this song. This is like so close to a 4. It's a 3.5, but I think like, man, like it's almost there. This could go up to 4.
I think this is going to be a summer 2026 song for you. I hope.
I could see that. I don't even have anything to add. I feel like you put it all so beautifully, especially with those quotes. I don't know. I'm like trying to think if I should just put out a 4 already or not.
I vote yes.
I will decide at the end of the album. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, we have to talk about track number 6, Tuesday. Tuesday is represented by the box of wine because it's a song about drinking wine in your mom's basement to get over a breakup. Shout out basements one time.
Shout out.
Actually, 2 times because we already talked about them before.
Yeah, shout out.
I got some lyrics here. Sometimes I think I'm mundane. Sometimes I think I'm better off like my dad. Maybe that's progressive, or maybe that's the working class. Very Minnesota. I love that this is in the same key as Simple Season right before it because it makes it feel so connected. It reminds me of Emotional and I Love You Too from Charlie's album that we covered in the first episode of this season because it's just 2 songs that kind of explore the same idea in the same key but are very different but are so spiritually connected. And they're next to each other in the track list, which I really love.
That's a good point.
This song was a sleeper for me that I didn't always love, but now I return to it all the time. It's a May and June type of song to me. And David, sometimes it's the best day of my life. This is a perfect 5.
Wow. You're like on a run right now.
Oh yeah, this is one of the 2 runs on this album.
First thing I'm going to say is I listened to this on a Tuesday.
Let's go.
So that's fun.
Shout out Tuesdays one time.
Shout out Tuesdays. I think I really like the production and I like how positive the song is. Like I feel like so many of these songs are positive in a way.
It is interesting. It's deceptively.
It's the vibe.
It is the vibe because it's like it's a breakup and I'm drunk and I feel bad, but it's like maybe it's the best day of my life too.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's really interesting. I feel like I haven't heard that with a lot of other indie stuff or just other music in general. It's funny when I was listening to this song, I was thinking about the indie effect because I do feel like with the indie effect, typically it's quite hard for stuff to break above a 3.5. Like I feel like a lot of stuff just stays there. But then at the same time, it's also not typical for stuff to go lower. Like it's interesting how like 3.5 is like is just a score that indie fully just sticks to, you know? Like it just, I don't know what it is.
You like it just enough
that no
it's
idea.
a 3.5, but it's never amazing. It's never your favorite thing.
It's weird though, because I feel like with every single other genre, there's so much fluctuation.
Maybe you like it more than other genres. I don't know. This is a 3.5?
This is also a 3.5. Yeah.
I'm waiting for this mythical 4.
We'll get there. I think you know what song it's going to be on. Let me just say that.
I do.
You're probably right.
And now it's time for track number 7, Western Kids. This was kind of a post-album single because they did release a music video for it in June of 2017. This song is about being addicted to your phone, so guess what? It is represented by the phone on the album cover. It is also inspired by David Foster Wallace, whom I know nothing about, but many people have said throughout my life that I would like. Shout out Davids, too, actually. David
That's
Foster
right.
Wallace.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there are. Some of them are good, too. Better hit rate on Davids than Brandon.
True. That's very true.
Every 2010s album has got to have a song where you complain about how people in LA are fake. And you know what? I agree. Lyrically, this one isn't as interesting to me as some others, but it is one of my most played songs from the album because it's got such a great chorus and it is so catchy. It reminds me of early summer evenings. And of course, it has a long-ass outro, which always gets points from me. I gave this one a 4. I listened to it a lot more than that score would suggest, but even then, I was like, you know what? A 4 is a very good score. It's just kind of tainted by the fact that I have a lot of 5s on here and a lot of 4.5s.
Yeah.
This is a very good album. What did you think about this one? Did you like them complaining about LA?
Hey, I always support that.
Did you find it relatable?
Hey, that's the story of my life. I complain about LA to everyone. Even though I love it. I love my city. This song was really interesting because I was on the vocal performance and just in general, the verses didn't work that well for me. But the choruses were really, really strong and that kept it out of 3.5. to the point where I'm just like, I want to listen to the choruses. Like they really, really work in this song. Yeah, this song was like an interesting mix to me. And we've had that before where like a chorus is stronger or a verse is stronger or something like that. It's still very upbeat though. Like it's still a very upbeat song.
And that is all about to change because it's time for track number 8, Poems. Jake said, "The second half of the record to me is more introspective. The songs feel more honest and related to direct experiences that happened. There was a lot of personal revelation." And I'm glad he said that because this is exactly where I've always thought the second half of the album started. Jake also said that at one point this was his favorite song from the album because of how fun it is to play live. And Poems is represented on the cover by the chair and white-collared shirt. I've always seen this song as kind of a companion piece to Western Kids, and it bridges the gap between Western Kids and Epitaph, and also kind of bridges the gap between first half and second half of the album. It's very cool and very meandering, and it kind of fades into the next song too, which I really like. I also gave this one a 4, mostly because it's long and I don't return to it as much, but it's still very nice. And a 4 is, like I said before, still a very good score and is higher than a lot of other songs we've done this season. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't really know why I'm justifying it. I guess it's just because, well, not to spoil it, but I got another 5 coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah, I mean the vibes fit the title, I think, and you definitely like notice the change up with the song. Like the second half of this album, to me at least, most definitely starts with this specific song, because the album does kind of going to the point that the quote was making. It does become a lot quieter and more introspective, which I think also fits. Like I feel like the second half of Summer in some ways feels a little bit more like you're growing a little quieter as you're getting into fall. I don't know. It's interesting. This song feels kind of murky to me, which surprised me. Like I was going into this thinking like, oh, okay, this song is quieter. Maybe that will like make it work even more for me. But I do feel like the beginning just does not come together. Eventually when the beat drops, it starts to come together for me and starts to like turn into a much stronger song. But with that first, like with the opening of it, it does kind of end up becoming a mixed bag and staying at a 3, which really surprised me because I was fully expecting to like the quieter songs. But I mean, I guess we'll see pretty soon that I did like some of the quieter songs more. Hint, hint.
I think we're about to have a David track 9 theory here. I'm very excited because this is track number 9, Monsoon. This is insane. This was the second single from the album, released November 21st, 2016.
Damn.
Boyish was the first one, which is loud and crazy. Then you get this, which is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I kind of can't believe that they did this. But now, yes, this is my new choice for your favorite. And I got a lot of notes here. Monsoon is represented by the calendar opened to June 2009. On the first Wednesday, Nathan's older sister, Mackenzie, was killed in a car accident. He said, "Monsoon, I wrote in one day when we were in the studio, and it wasn't until later that night that I realized it was about my sister's death." He uses the stage name Brother Kenzie for his solo work as well, which I feel like is very sweet. And from Genius, writer of the song Nathan Stocker has mentioned that he didn't feel the guilt that he had heard so much about when people die, the "it should have been me" feeling. The repetition may represent the writer trying to feel the should have been me, but finds himself falling short. From Genius, about the line, "July has always been shy of June." In this context, shy of is referring to the lesser used definition, short of or less than. The narrator remarks that ever since the death of his sister, June has always seemed longer than July, even though the latter has one more day. This may also have some correlation to Nathan's birthday, which is almost a month after Mackenzie's death on July 4th. I wrote about this song, maybe the best lyrics on the album. I don't think I can really do them justice by reading any of them here. They're absolutely brutal. And of course, we do have a gorgeous line, "A pine with arms brushing off the dew," and that is tree mention number 3, which feels sacrilegious to do during talking about this song, unfortunately. And I have to say, I love the outro. "It should have been me" repeated a bunch of times as it starts to fade into the foreground before the song ends and fades into Vacation. A beautiful, cold summer night song. This is, of course, a perfect 5. What did you think? Is this your favorite?
Yeah. This is my favorite in the whole album. No surprises.
That's very good.
There's not much else to add, honestly. productions and obviously the vocals are absolutely beautiful, but like the writing, I think, really is the standout. The lyrics are the standout in the song. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much to add, honestly. With that context, I feel like it makes this song even stronger, honestly.
Yeah.
This is a 4. I could see this going up to a 4.5 in the future. Absolutely.
There's one reason I did not initially pick this to be your favorite song, and that's because the "It Should Have Been Me" is like weird. It's vocal manipulation, and I thought,
It is.
I don't know how you're going to feel about that, but this is a beautiful song, and it's the type of song that I think you would like.
Yes. I think the ending, I feel like, is the weakest part of the song for me, but that, like, ultimately the song is so good that like even the ending works for me, you know? It is weaker for me, but that makes it still stronger than a lot of other stuff. I feel like that's kind of a weird catch 22 there.
Yeah, it is a great song,
I
though.
don't know.
And I did think you would like it, so I'm glad you do, and it's your favorite.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Not to spoil it, I want to ask, is this the only 4 on the album as of right now?
Well, okay, there's another song that I'm kind of stuck on.
Okay,
so
cool.
we will get there. Maybe, not to ruin it, but we will get there in a second.
Track number 10, Vacation. This is from Jake, who has often said it's his favorite song from the album. It's kind of the most raw and the most real. It's honestly the least thought out. I would say those were pretty much kind of the first words I wrote. It directly deals with the struggle to write the record and maintain relationships within the band while writing the record, because it really tested all of us. I think it's just kind of an informative song. You can hear a lot about the record and the way it was made in the song. Jake tweeted some lyrics from this song in October of 2016. I've had my time in present tense. I'm taking vacations where vacancy's permanent. It says that tweet that he made of those lyrics was from Janesville, Wisconsin, which is funny because that is not somewhere that you go on vacation. It is one of the 3 or so truly Rust Belt cities in Wisconsin. There are themes of taking drugs to escape from yourself throughout the song, so maybe he was smoking a little something something while tweeting this from Janesville. My apologies to the people of Janesville. I don't mean to shit on your city. I'm sure it's beautiful, but
they're going to start coming after us.
It is somewhat funny, I will say. Vacation is represented by the potted plant on the album cover. Oak, cedar, and juniper. That is tree reference 4, 5, and 6. This song has always felt like the feeling after a thunderstorm when the air is wet and the sun is setting. One of my favorite moments in Midwestern summers. I think the track list is perfect because it happens right after the storm, the monsoon. The outro of this song is beautiful. You know how much I love outros. Listening to the album for this episode reminded me of how good this song is. This might actually be my second favorite on the album now, and I want to say this was the other one that could be my favorite. This is a perfect 5. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. They should be co-favorites. I think I'm going to mark Simple Season as my favorite, but this one is so fucking good. This song is incredible. This is like up there for indie songs all time. Perfect 5.
Let me just say, I can totally see this being your favorite song. Like I think you should just like do co-favorites, you know? Just go for it.
Yeah,
we are
that.
the rulers of the podcast.
Sure, I'm going to do it. Co-favorite.
Fuck yeah. The vocals and productions are so good. Like, it's beautifully done. And this was the song that I was stuck on. I feel like there are some things in the production that didn't work as well for me, but it is still so good. This is probably my second favorite. Honestly, I was kind of stuck before, but I'm just going to do it. Like, you only live once. I'm making this a 4. It's not a 3.5. This is a 4.
Let's go. I love it.
We finally, like, your co-favorite and potentially second favorite is also my second favorite. So we're in agreement.
Let's go. I love it.
Hell yeah.
Great song. I forgot how good this one is.
No, it's amazing.
Track number 11, Boyish. This was the lead single, released October 11th, 2016. From Nathan, the lyrics of the song face disillusionment within family life, specifically from the aftermath of a divorce. Realizing that there's a lot of ground to cover in a lifetime, coming to grips with it, and embarking on that path is a process that we have been thinking about deeply for most of our time as a band. I got a line here. Brother's in the basement till he's 30. Relatable. Shout out to the crashing economy.
Shout out.
Shout out basements for a third time, too.
Oh, yeah.
There's sunlight dripping off the apricot tree. I don't know why he pronounces it as apricot because I've never heard anyone American say that. It's apricot. I'm sorry. This is a reference to a Mormon children's song. I looked out the window and what did I see? Popcorn popping on the apricot tree. Jake was raised Mormon, and this song is represented by the apricot tree on the album cover. And we get 4 apricot tree mentions, which takes us to a total of 10 tree references on this album. David, you better like this song because it's actually about divorce, just like E.T. Although, if you didn't choose Epitaph as your least favorite, I could see this being your least favorite because it goes too hard for you. I didn't listen to this song for a while after I first heard the album because it was too loud for me, LOL. Now I like it a lot. If you think that it ends too quickly, there is a single version with the full outro that they cut off to go into the interlude on the album version.
Oh.
I ended up rating this song a 4.5. Now, I know you chose Epitaph as your least favorite. Was this another one that was in the running for your least favorite?
Obviously, the song is very high energy, which fits the title. It's very fun, but it does feel all over the place, which I do think fits the song. Like, that is in some ways not a minus, but it ultimately didn't work that well for me.
I didn't think it would.
It is a 3. Yeah. It could have been worse. I still enjoyed it.
I worry about what you're going to think about pop punk when we do it.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to think, honestly. My mind, I don't think can comprehend that yet. That's all I'm gonna say.
Not yet. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Track number 12, Interlude. Did you catch those weird vocal oohs that are in Sun Veins? I did, and I love that it feels like we're circling around to the beginning of the album again. And Interlude is represented by the clock on the album cover. Now, here's my cop-out. I rated this a 3.5, and it's my least favorite. This is why I rated the intro and the interlude, because I don't want to choose any of the other songs as my least favorite. This one I actually don't return to unless I'm listening to the album as a full. It's just an instrumental song that bridges 2 songs together. It's fine. It does nothing wrong, but it's an interlude, you know? So this is my least favorite.
I mean, yeah.
I know that's cheating.
That is.
But I'm going to cheat because I like this album a lot.
I'm going to say it. That's fully cheating.
It is like an actual song, you know? Like, it's not just nothing. It's not sounds.
Yeah,
like
that
we've
is
had
true.
a few times on here, like the Radiohead talking song or the Beck computer noise song at the end of the album.
No, and I will say I do agree that this is a weaker song. It's a 3. You know, not much to say. It's an interlude. What can I add? You know, not a bad song, but I don't know. I don't want to say not that important. It's just not.
I mean, that is kind of accurate though. It's
True.
It bridges 2
Yeah.
songs together. If you're going back to individual songs on the album, it's not important. If you're listening to the album as
True.
a whole
That's a
cohesive
good point.
work, I think it's important. But those are 2 different things. We got the final track, lucky number 13, Buttercup. This is from Nathan. It's not a breakup song. It's more of a middle finger song. I guess I want to do things my way, and it came from a couple different perspectives. The point of view changes. She's, he's, I, you. It's all pretty ambiguous. It's represented by the boxing glove on the album cover. Nathan has also said that it is his favorite song from the album because, and I quote, it goes frickin' ham near the end in the live performances. This is the most popular song on the album, and I would say one of the band's signature songs, despite never being an official single. I don't remember if it was Buttercup or Baseball from their fall 2017 EP Warm Glow that I heard first, but I do know that I heard them in the same indie pop playlist on Spotify back in the day when they had editors. Buttercup did end up getting a music video in January of 2018, and I did hear Buttercup first, but it was on the same day. I added it to the playlist directly before I added Baseball. So just want to shout out, I did look it up. I forgot to change that note. This is the quintessential Midwest summer song. What a banger. This is up there for indie pop crowd pleasers in the history of the genre. Scale a tree, snap a branch so you can't leave. That will end us at 12 trees on the album. There's also a gothic vine, but I will once again show restraint. So 12 tree references on this album. Shout out to trees. Also, what the hell is he saying on a lot of these lyrics? I have no idea, but it's cool. I like this kind of indie music where you can make your own meaning. I've always interpreted it as a high school fight. The band said in an Instagram post, Buttercup, the last track on the record, inner battles, battling outer battles, and finding the push to keep swinging in between. Or something like that. Who knows? What do you think it means? And finally, David, I have to say, lighten up, Buttercup, get a hobby. And in the movie, he says, pucker up, Buttercup, which I did not remember. So Yeah, that's kind of a fun connection for you. This is, of course, a perfect 5. Great way to end the album. What did you think? And what do you think this song is about?
I honestly don't have a thought on what the song is about. Like, I don't listen to lyrics very much, and I've only heard it like twice. So I don't know. I don't have a clear thought in my head. What I do know is that I think this is a perfect end to the album. Like it feels like a celebration, like of the end of summer.
I can totally see that,
which I think is perfect. So maybe that's what it's about.
Yeah, I like that.
Like celebrating the end of summer. I don't know though. I don't know what it's about, but I do like how playful and fun it is. This is fully a 3.5.
Nice.
We're ending on a very good note.
Yes, we are. And I have to ask you before I get into our questions and all of that stuff.
Yes.
I need to ask you, is Simple Season going to be a 4? And is Epitaph officially your least favorite song?
Epitaph is officially my least favorite song. I feel like because Vacation is a 4, I think I might keep Simple Season at 3.5 because I prefer Vacation to it.
We've reached the end of the album. I'm going to guess 3.5 for you, but what did you actually give it?
Well, actually, I gave it a 3.5.
Nice.
You're exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's my indie score. I got to stick with it, I guess. There's one indie album I've not given the indie score, and that's Sufjan Stevens. Every other single other indie album, which I think is like 4 or 5 different ones.
Tennis, you gave higher.
True, I forgot. Okay.
I
That's 2 out
I
of
kind
like
of wasn't
8.
counting Sufjan Stevens as one of them because it's like indie folk. It's a little bit different.
True.
It's not like pop or rock, but I'll count it. So I guess Sufjan Stevens and Tennis are the 2 that you gave a different score to.
Well, and I think that like indie folk does work better for me because I do really like folk, So I could see that being something that, I don't know, helps.
I wanted to ask you before I go, will you add any of these songs to playlists, and will you return to this album as a whole?
I will definitely add Monsoon and Vacation. I think there's also the possibility that something like Simple Season could make it on. And I will definitely return. I will probably return to specific sections of the album more than I will the overall album, though.
That makes sense.
Because stuff like, the interlude, I'm not going to listen to. Like, who has time for that? But I do want to return, especially because this is the perfect summer album. So I want to return to this in the summer. I feel like that's, perfect.
Yes, it's almost summertime. That's why I fought for this album for this like episode to come out in May, because I was like, this is just perfect right before summer, because it's like the transition between spring and summer for me. And you can find something for each season there,
Yeah.
But now I have to tell you, it is cohesive. It has similar themes and references throughout all the songs. And most of all, it feels like all of these songs deserve to be here and tell the album's story. I love it, and I would put it up there as one of the best indie pop albums, and honestly, one of the best indie albums of all time. I love it. I ended up giving it a 4.5.
Hell yeah.
Is it a perfect 5? Maybe. I'm giving it a 4.5 for now. I went in thinking this was a 4, and then I went back to it for the first time as a full cohesive album in like probably 2 years, and I was like, Jesus, like it is really just that good. It stays at a 4.5 for now, but this one is on the watch. We'll see when we get to our like year in review episode at the end of the season if this does end up going to a 5 for me. But as of right now, 4.5. And I have to ask you, David, one final question. Do you consider yourself a fan of Hippocampus now?
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I love the summery vibe. It's so much fun.
Well, I'm glad. And now it's time to continue that late spring, early summer vibe with a movie. Also from the Midwest.
We are, of course, talking about John Hughes's Ferris Bueller's Day Off, in case you couldn't tell from the multiple times we've referenced it so far. But anyways, now, of course, I got to give you the IMDb logline first, and I got to get what you think.
IMB.
DB, IMDb. There we go. Here goes. A brash, cocky high school senior, tired of skipping school to spend a boring day at home, is determined to enjoy a epic day roaring around his favorite Chicago sights, enlisting his best friend and girlfriend to join him on the adventure.
Hate. I don't like.
Yeah. Why
weird.
is it so long?
Why is it so long? And also, like, it tells you stuff that happens in the movie, but like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that. That feels weird.
Literally, all you need to say is, a high school senior decides to skip out on school. Like you could make it so much simpler and it would be better. I don't know why they added the whole tired of skipping school to spend a boring day at home. Like what? Just say skipping, like he is going to skip school. That's all you need. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't, that's
enough ranting. This is of course a teen comedy written and directed by John Hughes. It's produced by John Hughes and Tom Jacobson. The cinematography is by Tak Fujimoto. It's edited by Paul Hirsch. The music is by Aaron Newborn. And the film is distributed by Paramount Pictures.
I was not expecting that, honestly.
Jump scare after everything.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. And it is rated PG-13, which I did not realize. I thought this was a PG film, honestly.
I would have assumed because I didn't remember when PG-13 started. And I was like, there's no way this is R.
True.
So
it started like a little bit before.
Yeah.
And of course, it stars Matthew Broderick, Mia Sara, Alan Ruck, Jennifer Grey, and Jeffrey Jones. And of course, Jennifer Grey we talked about in our Dirty Dancing episode. Hint, hint.
That's where I knew her from. Oh my God. The entire time I did not realize that was her.
Yeah, no, that's her.
She even looks similar.
Yeah. Well, she looks exactly the same because this was before the nose job.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Crazy times. Now I tried to find where the idea for this came from specifically, and I didn't find where the idea came from, but I did see that the character of Ferris Bueller is based off of Edward McNally. McNally grew up on the same street as Hughes, and they were friends, and he was wanted by the school dean because he skipped school a total of 27 times.
Wow.
So all of that was, of course, adapted by Hughes into the character of Ferris Bueller.
What a legend.
And Cameron was also based off of another friend of Hughes. Hughes described this other friend as, quote, he was sort of a lost person. His family neglected him, so he took that as license to really pamper himself. When he was legitimately sick, he actually felt good because it was difficult and tiring to have to invent diseases. But when he actually had something, he was relaxed, end quote.
Shout out.
Yeah, that's also
right
literally
what you know.
Just Cameron.
You know, good writers borrow, great writers steal. I've also heard that a lot.
I guess I'm going to be writing about two people that start a podcast.
I would watch that.
20 hours of two people talking. That's the whole
Yeah, and we're not even
movie.
in the same city anymore, so it's just virtual the whole time. Yeah,
it's two
incredible.
screens. It's like the War of the World movie.
Oh, wow.
Or it's like Mercy.
Yes, David is making his very own War of the Worlds, or actually War of the Worlds plus Mercy, and it'll be available if we ever set up a Patreon.
Anyways, Hughes started to write the film in 1985, and he was focused on the characters. As he has said, quote, I know how the movie begins, I know how it ends, I don't ever know the rest, but that doesn't seem to matter. It's not the events that are important, it's the characters going through the event. Therefore, I make them as full and real as I can, end quote.
The best.
And I think in large part, this is why he would write his script so fast, because he wrote this in a week.
Wow.
We talked about how quickly he wrote Planes, Trains, and Automobiles too, and I actually have an interesting little quote from his editor, Paul Hirsch. Hirsch noted that Hughes would often shoot a first draft and include everything in it, and then actually create the story and create the structure in the editing room.
Interesting.
And he noted that, quote, having the story episodic and taking place in one day meant the characters were wearing the same clothes. I suspect that Hughes writes his scripts with few, if any, costume changes just so he can have that kind of freedom in the editing, end quote. And honestly, yeah, you look at a lot of his films and, you know, it takes place in one day and you have characters in the same clothes. Even something like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, they're traveling, so they're wearing the exact same thing.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. When it came to casting, the role of Ferris was written for Matthew Broderick because he felt that Broderick had the charm to pull off the character. As he said, quote, certain guys would have played Ferris and you would have thought, where's my wallet? I have to have that look. That charm had to come through, end quote. Which tracks. I think, you know, if someone else played him, you would have just absolutely hated him instead of being like, yeah, he's not a great guy, but he's just fun.
You're endeared to him.
Yeah, pretty much endear you to him, like you just said. Do you want to guess anyone else that was considered? This is mid 80s. I know you don't know a lot of actors from this time period, so no worries if not.
I looked this up at one point because I was curious. I'm just going to go out and say Charlie Sheen, and then that's an end of ideas.
I did not see Charlie Sheen, but
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
I did see Jim Carrey,
Oh.
Johnny Depp.
Oh, wait. Michael J. Fox, I remember, was one.
Yep, Michael J. Fox.
But yeah, Johnny Depp, no thank you.
And Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah. That's not okay.
I could just see him doing like his cackling laughter in this character. Anyways.
He's too pretty. You know?
Yeah, I feel like he's also
It's not believable.
Like, he gives off too much of an intense, feeling
Yes.
as an actor. So I don't think it would have worked. Honestly, I think few people could like do it the way that Matthew Broderick does. For the role of Sloane, Mia Sara actually surprised Hughes. I have a quote from her. She said, quote, "It was funny. He didn't know how old I was and said he wanted an older girl to play the 17-year-old. He said it would take someone older to give her the kind of dignity she needed. He almost fell out of his chair when I told him I was only 18, end quote. Which, hey, please cast people that are the actual age of the characters that you're casting.
Yes.
It really works.
Yeah, it really does, surprisingly.
That being said, we're throwing that out the window with Alan Ruck.
Mm-hmm. I know how old he is.
Yes.
It's fucked up. He does not look
Do you want to say?
29, right?
Yep. He was 29.
He does not look 29.
It's crazy. He absolutely does not look 29. And even now, like, he does not look his age. He looks like 10 years younger. But yeah, he was worried that, like, he would not get the role because he was 29. And actually, he wasn't the first person considered. They went to Emilio Estevez, but he turned the role down.
Charlie Sheen was kind of right for one of that, He's in
it
the
was
movie,
close. It was just the other brother, the one that didn't get addicted to drugs. Anyways.
Just like he is in the movie. Shout out.
Yeah. But Ruck has said that, quote, "Every time I see Emilio, I want to kiss him," end quote, for turning the role down because this was like his big break. And talking about the age, he said that he wasn't really shocked because, when he was 18, he said he looked like he was 12. So,
yeah, that makes sense.
Meanwhile, Jeffrey Jones was cast off of his performance in Amadeus, which we will be talking about at some point, I'm sure. And I do have a quote from him. He said, quote, "My part was actually quite small in the script, but what seemed to be the important part to me was that I was the only one who wasn't swept along by Ferris. So I was the only one in opposition, which presented a lot of opportunities, some of which weren't even in the script or were expanded on. John was receptive to anything I had to offer and indeed got ideas along the way himself," end quote. I also feel like I would be remiss if I did not mention that Jeffrey Jones is a convicted pedophile as of like 2003. Yes.
It would not be a movie until we talk about pedophilia. Honestly,
it would not.
Like, that sexual assault.
He was found with
stuff.
like photos.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
I don't know. I guess it makes sense that he reminded me of my fucked up principal.
Yeah. Obviously, that's absolutely messed up. We don't support it, but I had to bring that up.
Don't shout out principals one time.
Yeah, don't shout them out. Now, where does John Hughes shoot all of his movies, Brandon?
That'd be the greatest city on earth, Chicago, Illinois.
And I actually have a quote from him about that. As he said, quote, "A lot of Ferris is sort of my love letter to the city. And the more people who get upset with the fact that I filmed there, the more I'll make sure that's exactly where I film. It's funny. Nobody ever says anything to Woody Allen about always filming in New York. America has this great reverence for New York. I look at it as this decaying horror pit. So let the people in Chicago enjoy Ferris Bueller," end quote.
Yeah, fuck New York. No, I'm kidding. I've never been there.
I support. Support.
Yeah.
So yes, they filmed in Chicago as well as Los Angeles because they did film in two places. Yeah. Locations included downtown Chicago as well as Winnetka in the San Fernando Valley here in LA and Long Beach, as well as Glenbrook North High School. Now, Cameron's family's house, meanwhile, was filmed in Highland Park, Illinois. It's the famous Ben Rose house. And obviously this house is famous, so they had to be very careful when they were filming the Ferrari crash scene. They had to literally remove all of the window panes and put in replacement panels. And they actually discovered that the originals were weakened with age, so I think they just replaced it. Like the production was like, oh shit, we're like fixing up this house. Talking about the Ferrari, obviously the Ferrari that you see in the film is the 250 GT California Spider, but only a couple insert shots are of an actual 250 GT California Spider. As Hughes said, quote, "The cars we used in the wide shots were obviously reproductions. There are only 100 of these cars, so it was way too expensive to destroy. We had a number of replicas made," end quote. And they were made by Modena Design and Development and were called Modena Spider Californias. And all in all, 3 were made. And they worked.
Oh, wow.
Kind of.
Oh.
One of them was put together so poorly it barely worked. And another was not even completed and finally just disappeared.
Damn. Shout out Hollywood.
One of them was usable to a point, and it became known as the Replicar, but it was universally hated by the crew because it often didn't work properly. So
Nice.
There's that. And we got to talk about the parade scene that was shot over several days. And as Broderick has said, quote, "Fortunately, the sequence was carefully choreographed beforehand. We worked at all the moves by rehearsing in a little studio. It was shot on 2 Saturdays in the heart of downtown Chicago. The first day was during a real parade, and John got some very long shots. Then the radio station carried announcements inviting people to take part in a John Hughes film. The word got around fast, and 10,000 people showed up. For the final shot, I turned around and saw a river of people.
That's pretty cool.
I put my hands up at the end of the number and heard this huge roar," end quote. And his choreography was created by Kenny Ortega, who we talked about.
Yes.
Yes.
Multiple times.
Yeah. But Broderick hurt his knee and couldn't do it. So instead, he just made stuff up on the spot.
Oh my God.
Yes. So none of it was used. Poor Kenny Ortega. Charlie Sheen, meanwhile, decided that to get the desired effect for his role, he was going to stay awake for 48 hours.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know if he used drugs, but
Maybe that's when he started.
maybe that's what he started. That's what I was going to say. According to John Hughes, the scene at the Art Institute of Chicago was, quote, "a self-indulgent scene of mine, which was a place of refuge for me. I went there quite a bit. I loved it. I knew all the paintings, the building. This was a chance for me to go back into this building and show the paintings that were my favorite," end quote. And this was the first time the Art Institute of Chicago was ever filmed in.
Whoa.
When they went into production, the audiences hated the scene. Like, it just fared very poorly. Editor Paul Hirsch said, or he speculated that it was in the wrong place because originally the parade sequence in the edit came before the museum sequence. And they realized that the parade was really the highlight of the day. So they were like hitting the high and then going to the museum sequence. So the audience was like, what the heck is this? So they re-edited it. And this goes back to the point of Hughes being able to re-edit his films because of the way that he shoots them and the way that he writes them. And the next time they screened it, everybody loved the museum scene because it was before the parade. And with that, the movie came out. It was released June 11th, 1986. So yes, this is the perfect summer movie. And it became a smash hit. It made $70 million on a budget of $5 million.
5?
Yes, that's
Oh
right.
my God.
Yep. It's the 80s for you, man. That's probably like 20 million nowadays or 30 million, but still.
But still, that's like not a lot.
Especially considering what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
They
did
have a
parade.
freaking fake Ferrari and a parade and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's wild. It did receive positive reviews, although some did find Ferris to be unlikable, which we will talk about. Regardless, it's, along with The Breakfast Club, probably John Hughes' best known work. And it's considered both a classic 80s and teen film. And many of its lines and fourth wall breaks are endlessly quoted today. It's in the cultural consciousness, pretty much. This also shot Matthew Broderick into the stratosphere. As he said, quote, "For the past 25 years, nearly every day someone comes up to me, taps me on the shoulder and says, 'Hey, Ferris, is this your day off?'" End quote. And interestingly enough, he was obviously in a lot of film projects, but nowadays he is perhaps more commonly seen on the Broadway stage. He has won multiple Tonys. He kind of,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it seems like in a way he kind of pivoted to theater more than film. Jennifer Grey, meanwhile, we obviously talked about, she had a big hit with Dirty Dancing before she got a nose job that unfortunately in some ways hurt her career. If you want to hear more about that, go listen to that episode. Hint, hint. Alan Ruck, meanwhile, continued a very healthy career, saying that Cameron was, quote, the best part I ever had in a movie, and any success that I've had since 1985 is because he, this is referencing Hughes, of course, took a big chance on me. I'll be forever grateful, end quote. And of course, he has become known to a whole new generation with his role in the TV series Succession, where, ironically, I feel like there he is also cast as a character that's younger than he actually is. Because the actor that plays his father is only 10 years older than him in the show. So, and of course, John Hughes continued a very successful career with films such as Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which we also discussed. Hint, hint. Go watch that.
Yes, hint, hint.
Yes, Uncle Buck, and of course, Home Alone. And he passed away in 2009 at the age of 59. I'm going to ask you two questions because I feel like they're both important questions to bring up at the same time. Or not at the same time, but I don't know. I don't know which one to lead with, so I'm going to ask you both. A, have you seen Ferris Bueller before, and how does it hold upon a rewatch? And B, is Ferris Bueller the villain of this movie?
A, yes, I've seen it before. And B, oh, well, actually, I should say it also does hold up on a rewatch. I actually think I liked it more rewatching it than when I first watched it. I first watched it probably freshman year of high school, maybe 8th grade. I don't know. But my parents showed it to me. They both loved it from their childhood. And no, Ferris Bueller is not the villain of this movie. He is helping his friend who is kind of going through a similar crisis to what I'm going through right now, just at a different stage in his life. Who is he? What does he want to be? What's his goal? What's his dream? You know, I don't think I think he's actually the hero kind of, because he's giving Cameron these opportunities to, I guess, experience life that he wouldn't have made or taken for himself.
Right.
Do you think Ferris Bueller is the villain of this movie? And also, have you ever seen this before?
Okay, let me answer the first question first. I don't necessarily think he's the villain. I do think that he is honestly kind of like a jerk, but I question how much of what he does for Cameron is to help Cameron. Like, I feel like, yes, he does help him, but I feel like he starts off the day just wanting to like have fun and not really caring how Cameron actually feels. That's kind of my interpretation. I feel like eventually, though, he realizes and then is actually kind of there for Cameron. I feel like it's kind of complicated, and he is a jerk.
A little bit.
To answer your second question, though, I had not seen this before, actually.
Another movie that I've seen before you, so
yes,
that's kind of crazy. Just throwing that out there.
One of the few.
Yeah, we say one of the few. I think it's at like 5 now.
True.
At this point.
Surprisingly, it's happened more than you would think. But yeah, I'd seen A Breakfast Club. I'd seen, obviously, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's the John Hughes movie that I grew up with. But I'd never seen this, and I'd heard a lot about it. And not to get into like what I think too soon, but you know, I think this is a fun time. I will say, though, I do think that The Breakfast Club is a stronger film, and that I think Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a much stronger film. And that actually leads me to my question. Considering that we watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for the podcast last season, how does this compare to that now that you have seen it?
I've seen both of these movies before we watched them for the podcast.
Right.
And I have to tell you, they're actually going to be right next to each other in my rankings on Letterboxd. But I like this one more.
Wow, that's interesting.
I think both are equally funny, but I think the themes overall of Ferris Bueller's Day Off hit a little bit harder for me because, as I've talked about many times before, I love coming of age stories. Probably my favorite like subgenre or whatever of movies. And I feel like that just hits so much harder because it's like you're figuring out what your life is going to be. You know, Steve Martin and John Candy are older. They're middle-aged. They've lived a lot of their life and they're learning just now what friendship truly means. But this is like you're learning who you're going to be in the future, which I don't know, hits a little bit harder for me. And I will say, I think I would put this movie above The Breakfast Club and then The Breakfast Club in between this and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But I don't know for sure. I might actually, upon rewatch, rate The Breakfast Club a perfect 5.
That's really, really interesting. It's ironic because I feel like for me personally, I find Planes, Trains, and Automobiles to be a much deeper film. And I think definitely a part of that is the fact that I am very much drawn to its themes. I have always been drawn to like stories about friendship and like stories that explore like friendship. So I think that is definitely a big reason why I do prefer Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. In many ways, I feel like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is the black sheep of John Hughes's filmography. It's like the most different.
I can see that.
And it's also my favorite. Like I feel like he hit a high with that film. But I'm really happy with how much you enjoy this film too. I don't really have any other questions, to be honest. So if you want to throw out what you like your score and your other thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll spoil it. I kind of feel like I kind of did already by saying The Breakfast Club might be a perfect 5. This is a 4.5. I think this is a great film. Mm-hmm. This is on the level with Call Me By Your Name. And honestly, The Kid Detective.
Wow.
Because they feel...
That's higher than I thought.
Oh, yeah. This is, I think, probably number 5 or 6 that we've watched on the podcast. This is incredible and so much better than I thought. Like when going into this, I thought this was a 4. And then I was like, no, actually, it is kind of like exactly what I want in a movie. I don't know that it fully comes together to be the perfect like 5 movie. I've given out 4 5s ever. So like... You know, that's a very unattainable score, as it should be, for me at least. But I really do like this, and it hits all of the notes that I want it to. I feel like the whole Cameron arc is just so well done. And I love that he's kind of just like a problem the whole day, but then it turns out that like he's actually kind of the solution to the story as well, to resolve the story.
He's definitely my favorite character. Like he's the one that I... not related to, but that I felt for the most. And I think he is honestly like the best part of this film, in my opinion. And I think a part of that is also Alan Ruck. I think he's just so fun to watch in this film. Especially like the pool scene is the one that really stands out to me. It's interesting because this does definitely feel more episodic, but I do feel like John Hughes's films in a way typically do feel quite episodic.
That's true,
which,
yeah.
You know, obviously like the editor Paul Hirsch talked about that and with the way that he re-edits films, which hey, I think that speaks to the importance of knowing how to rework a film in the editing room
and having somebody you trust to do it.
Yes, that's also true. Yeah, because Paul Hirsch was the one that said, "Hey, we need to move the scene because that's not why that's why it's not working." Pretty much.
That scene is great too. Maybe that's up there for my favorite in the movie.
Yeah, for me, I feel like it's fully just the pool scene, just because of it's so much fun. Maybe that and the Ferrari scene at the end when it crashes, because it's just so unexpected. Like you don't expect that to happen. I fully expect them to figure out how to fix like the problem, and instead it gets worse. Which is like, it's good that the story goes that way because you want Cameron to have that development and to eventually get there to where he's going to stand up to his dad.
I do want you to talk a little bit more about your reaction to the film because this is your first viewing of it as well. And I don't think you like it as much as I do.
I definitely don't like it as much as you do. I think it's a fun film. I ultimately feel like kind of what I said before, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is my favorite John Hughes film. And I feel like a large part of that is the fact that it, to me, feels like it has a lot more depth to it. I think for me, Ferris Bueller does feel more surface level, which is not a bad thing, certainly. I think, Cameron does have depth to him, but I feel like the other characters are kind of just there for the ride, if you get what I mean. That's not to say that it isn't fun or that I don't enjoy the ride. I think I just, even with like a comedy, I do always want something a little bit deeper, or I want there to be like something going on maybe within the characters, and there is definitely less of that here. So I think that's ultimately my reaction to it. Not to say that I didn't like it. It just doesn't feel as deep to me or as interesting ultimately.
I mean, I disagree because I feel like the purpose of Ferris is to kind of be nothing because like ultimately it is like his story, but is it? Like, it's kind of Cameron's story more than that.
I
Like,
agree with that. I feel like the emotions and the themes, as well as like the characters' inner emotional journeys, are presented better and done better in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It feels like more tangible, if that makes sense. I do feel like at times Cameron, like I agree that his story is actually the main story. It's kind of just disguised behind Ferris's Bueller.
kind of a Mad Max thing.
Yeah, kind of. But at the same time, like, even though he is in my mind the main character, so much attention is paid to Ferris and then also to the principal. I almost said the president, but I mean
The pedophile.
yeah, the pedophile. But the principal and then also Jennifer Grey's character, like, in a way, it feels like, yes, he is the main character, but the focus is only on him for maybe like 30% of the film. Meanwhile, in something like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the emotional journey is at like the forefront because you're focused on the two main characters that are going through the change throughout the whole movie. And even in something like The Breakfast Club, which I prefer Planes, Trains, and Automobiles over that film too. And that film is much closer in like score to this than it is to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But even there, like, because you have the six main characters all going through something, like, it does feel deeper than Ferris Bueller to me. Then again, like, that's not saying I don't enjoy this. I think this is a very fun movie to watch, to have a fun time.
That's interesting. I agree with the majority of that, I would say. And I think that's why I like this movie more than Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, is because it's not telling you that like the story is actually about Cameron. Like, it's not telling you that there is an emotional story here. It's like, this is a comedy movie that kind of like disguises the like darker parts of life, which I like. You know, it's so over the top in so many things, in so many ways, that I almost like that better because it's a wild contrast that you don't often see or like pick up on the whole time. So I don't know. I think that worked for me very well. But I did also want to say this one thing that I heard said about this movie, and I want your reaction to it. This movie was described as a legend you tell your friends. Like, it's not the story as it unfolds. It's like Ferris saying, guys, this is what happened on my day off. That's why you get these fourth wall breaks. That's why you get all of this insane shit like Save Ferris on the water tower. The community rallies around the sick youth in the paper. And it's like, none of that stuff is believable, but it's believable if it's like, oh, this is completely from the mind of Ferris. Like, I believe this actually happened, but then he's just like making it into something crazier because he himself is like kind of a legend. What do you think about that? Because I didn't really think about that when watching the movie. And then after I heard it, I was kind of like, you know what? That actually makes me like it even more.
No, I totally see that. I think that adds to, you know, how fun the movie is. I think it is very successful as a comedy film. And it's just like this fun summer, even though it's not like set in the summer, it feels like a summer movie to me. I think ultimately, like, my issue with it is not that. It's just that I want something closer to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like, I want the emotional core at the center. Obviously, I think Ferris Bueller is a jerk. I think that's like something that most people can agree on, but he's a lovable jerk. And it's kind of like the person, if you met him in real life, you wouldn't like him, but here it works and you really like him.
That's the thing. I feel like it's like you might not like him, but you kind of are endeared to him.
He still would get away with, like, he would charm you. Yeah, yeah. I feel like the way that you see a lot of that charm is through the fourth wall breaks and all that kind of stuff. And I think that that's why those do work very well.
And through Jeannie's arc.
True.
If you think about it, Jeannie was the original Candace from Phineas and Ferb.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. I had a feeling that I knew this character from somewhere else before, and you just like gave me where from. That's like the perfect comp right there. Yeah.
Two other things I got to shout out. Edie McClurg. Absolute shout out. She is hilarious. She has some of the best lines in this film.
No, she steals like scenes in every single John Hughes movie that she's in. I mean, her scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is probably my favorite scene from that film.
Yeah.
And she's amazing in this too.
Extremely memorable, just as an actor.
And she's only in it for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes.
Probably,
but she steals all her scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also have to shout out The game, it's nothing. Who's winning? The Bears. One of my all-time favorite jokes in there because it's a baseball game. And, shout out to no shout out to the Bears. Fuck the Bears. Fuck the Cubs, too.
What?
I'm a Packers fan. I'm a Brewers fan.
I forgot.
We hate them. Anyway.
Fuck yeah, I'm an Angels fan. Screw you guys.
Yeah. Fuck the Dodgers. We can both agree on that.
Fuck the Dodgers. Go Angels.
Yeah, let's go.
They just lost like 4 games in a row. Go Angels.
And I do have to ask you, this kind of brings me, the Cubs game, the going to the top of the Sears Tower, a parade downtown in the Loop. I have to ask you, David, does this make you want to go to Chicago with me?
I've been wanting to go to Chicago with you for a long time.
And I want to ask you as well, do you think we should shoot more movies in Chicago? Because I think we should.
Yes, I think we should.
Endless, untapped city that looks different than New York and LA, And there's an infrastructure there.
I also think that not only should we shoot more in Chicago, I think that we should shoot more in Chicago and make it look like Chicago instead of trying to use it as like a set for New York.
Yes.
If you know what I mean?
Like how they make Vancouver into LA or Montreal into New York.
Yes, exactly. Like, no, be like, okay, we're shooting in Chicago because we want it to look like Chicago.
Yes. 100% agree.
I support. But also as an Angelino, I say, please shoot more in Los Angeles. We need to come back.
I mean, I will make a blanket statement, which is shoot more. Just let's make movies. Let's make TV. Let's just do that because I think it's fun and it's good. And I think that me and all of my friends should have jobs.
The box office is on the rise. I think more original movies are being made.
It's being supported by great movies like Super Mario Galaxy and soon to be Michael.
No, throw that out the window. Project Hail Mary, brother.
Exactly.
No,
you haven't
even
seen it. You can't talk about it.
I don't care. I will support any like movie that's not just like the same rehash, that is actually good and that people want to go see. It's like Sinners all over again last year. So I'm going to support.
And that's why you saw Forbidden Fruits before you saw Project Hail Mary.
I have my priorities straight.
Shame. But that brings us to the end of this movie.
To our scores.
This is a 4.5 for me. Easy.
This is a 3.5 for me. We're a full letter grade apart. Or not letter grade, a full...
Yes, a full number apart. A real number apart. David, I got to tell you, this might be the most split we've been. I think only Superbad is more split. Well, I think that's the same because I think I gave it a 4 and you gave it a 3. So...
Yeah, that's a good point. When it comes to comedies.
Comedy, very interesting. I don't think I would have expected us to differ this much in comedy.
I think we were more split on the Birdcage. I just remembered.
I think I gave that a 3.5 and you gave it a
5.
Oh, you did give it a 5. Maybe I did give it okay, so yeah, technically.
But I mean, this is like one of the bigger splits because typically we are closer.
And it's notable because I rated it higher than you, which does not happen ever in movies. We've done it like 3 times?
For those of you who are like, oh my God, like David gives out 5s all the time. Well, I didn't this time.
And for those of you who are like, Brandon hates everything that we've done on this season of the podcast, I have to prove to you, I have 2 4.5s today. So I hope that you are starting to believe that I do, in fact, love things. It's just few and far between, and that makes it more special.
And we just need to give you guys some hope after the Brazil episode.
Exactly. After Brazil, after The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, after the Beck episode, I don't know. We got all kinds of stuff where it was like, we were a little bit weaker this season, but never again.
I am hopeful for next week's episode. Let me just say that. And if you want to see what that is,
head on over to that Instagram page. We post about the episode a week before it's out. If you're listening to this, that means the post is up there and you can see what you need to watch and listen to 1 full week before the episode comes out. And David, if they want to see what we rated everything, where can they do that?
You can see what we've rated in this episode and beyond on our Letterboxd pages and our Rate Our Music pages. And if you're wondering how the hell am I supposed to find all of that, I don't know your guys' weird nicknames. You can find all of that, including our Instagram, in our link tree, which is incidentally in the description of this episode and on our Instagram itself. And Brandon, if someone wants to email us and talk about how they disagree with my low score for Ferris Bueller and break the fourth wall, where can they email us?
Well, audience, I'm going to break the fourth wall here. I'm not going to look at David as I deliver this information because it's upcpod@gmail.com. And I have to say, I am a little bit saddened by David's low score on this movie because I really liked it. But don't tell him that. I'm breaking the fourth wall currently. If you want to support the show, leave a rating, leave a review, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell anyone who grew up in the 80s, tell anyone who grew up in the 2010s, tell anyone who hates school and wish it would end. And on that note,
Bye.